Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. This is Naaman of the DC Camp, branch of Great Millstone, back for another video. But first, call hello Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Kahakwadash. Alright, double honors once again. Go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. I'd like to also send salutations out to the fellow Akim that are out there on the highways and byways and pushing out the truth across four corners, not to mention the numerous amount of videos that go out also. All right, try to make it to remain hopeful elect. What we have here is something that initially when I heard it, I did not believe it. Apparently, Northern Kingdom was trying to get Southern Kingdom on up out of here. Yeah. As wild as that sounds, hold off a minute. We're going to play these videos. And if this is true, it makes a lot of sense of how they've been interacting with us. All right, just putting that out there now. And I'm thinking of Zechariah 11 and 14, all right, because even though we're in the time of Ezekiel 37, 38, and, but mainly focusing on 37, where he's bringing that remnant together of the northern and southern kingdoms. You got to still understand that there's a huge number that makes up the 2/3. Zechariah 13 and 8. All right. Wow. Let's just go ahead and roll this, because this is Lady Boule. When I use information that, all that other, female crap, picking the meat from the bone sort of thing. But I use information as I get it. But, wow. Here we go.
Hello, this is Lady Boule, and I hope you're having a great day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. Okay, y'all, didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you? I guess Tabitha is just now getting the word, and I'm just going to let her tell you in her own way.
Barbecue aan, zorgen uit. Milka Favorites. Breng al jouw favorites samen.
So I'm watching all of the conversation take place. Let me get this straight. Hispanic immigrants in this country vote the way that they do because they hate Black Americans so much that they use their vote thinking that we aren't Americans. They think that we are immigrants, and that if they vote along with Republicans and they get rid of immigrants in this country, they think that they are going to get rid of Black Americans. Black Americans who built this country. Black Americans who've been in this country since before the United States was established. Black Americans who are a part of the Constitution. They thought they would align themselves with whiteness and the Republican Party, who are screaming to get rid of the illegals in this country. They thought that meant us.
Yes, ma'am. That's what they think. Or at least that's what they thought until ICE came knocking. They thought that they had a higher status in the United States than we do. I think they thought because they're closer to the white people, they don't understand that almost white is not good enough in America. But yes, that's exactly what they thought. They thought that we were the immigrants, that we were the criminals, and that we were the ones that Donald Trump was talking about getting rid of. And consider the irony. They are the ones that are calling for Black people to come out into the streets and protest with them. I mean, you really can't make this kind of stupidity up. Let's hear some more from Tabitha.
That's what y'all are saying all over these TikTok streets? No. I can't believe it. I can't believe that the Hispanic and Latino community are so uneducated that they thought Black Americans were immigrants in this country and not citizens? No, I can't believe it. I cannot believe it.
When you think about it, and this goes to show you that the level of just outright disrespect when it comes to our story, and you know they had a little help with this, all right, and you know who from. I don't know what I'm doing here. Hold on. I gotta move this. Oh boy. Because they did this all around the world. I'm talking about the so-called white man, these Edomites, you know. But did they ever take this out of school? All right, let's just plain old everyday history. But let's wow. Social studies. All right, let's go to Wikipedia. All right. In many countries, curricula social studies is the combined study of humanities, the arts, and social sciences, mainly including history, economics, and civics. All right. Branches of social studies. I'm just skipping through. Wow. Social studies is not a subject unto itself. Instead, it functions as a field of study that incorporates many different subjects. It primarily includes the subjects of history, economics, and civics. Now, there's been this big push in recent years of trying to deny certain history. Y'all know I'm going with this. But still, there's a generational thing here, despite what they've been doing the last, 5 years or so. And you mean to tell me that none of you all bothered to look this shit up? Well, not shit, but I mean, you're so angry and biased towards us, at least, give us that's the thing. You don't have respect for us. Because a lot of this information is coming out since the last presidential election. All right. You having Jake, and Jake absolutely was warned about this years ago. In fact, what I'm going to do, bounce around here. Let's see if this video is up. Now, this is the same thing. She just included this right here in her segment. This is crazy. Who came up with this? Tabitha here, but it's another one I'm looking for. Hold on. Let's see. Is it? Where is it? This lady right here, talking about we being harassed from Taylor House Publishing, postal worker. She's arrested because the police officer says, she's accused of, she's in full uniform. Wow. But anyway, that's another video. Where is it? Hold on. Maybe it's over here. All right. This is an immigrant from Africa. Let's see what information he has. Because they've been doing these little schemes, and I'm sure there's others that can. Here's the one I was looking for. Let's get this first, and I'll come back to this. This is from 1990, I think. And come on now. It says, Terry Anderson warned Congress in 1990 that FBAs were being ethnically cleansed out of LA. There's plenty of stories. Hold on real quick, because I got to sign in here. Hold on. And it's real sad because, we're the same people, all right? But here we go.
So back in June 10th, 1990, there was a brother by the name of Terry Anderson that went before Congress. And this brother was warning about the conditions in South Central Los Angeles when it came to black people. And I want you to hear what our brother had to say back in 1990. And you fast forward to 2025, and you see what ended up happening. Let's go ahead and check out this clip.
Elected officials refuse to address the problem. The black elected officials refuse to address the problem. My own congressman refuses to address the problem. And I think the problem is black folks see all minorities as allies. And this is not the case. These people are not here for our common good. They're here for their own good. Where I don't have any ill will towards anybody, I also want to look out for my race. I'm a black American. I've never used a hyphen. But I will refuse to turn my back on my race and see what's going on in South Central to my people and let these people come in here and just take over. I'm not going to sit back and watch it. And I think it's a terrible thing, a horrendous thing for anybody to see this going on and say, well, he's a minority like me, so I won't speak up. I don't care where he comes from. The key to this whole thing is stop the denial, stop the alliances of, in other words, he's a minority like me, so I can't speak up against him. If this was white folks committing these lynchings to us in South Central, what's going on, there would be an outrage in this country. We have had firebombs thrown through windows. We have had people's cars burned in the driveway because they happened to move into the wrong communities. We had a lady who moved to East LA, came to the state from the South, not knowing what East LA was. It was an all Hispanic community. She wasn't there one day. We had another man who was burned out of his house in Torrance last year. We had 5 murders in Hawaiian Gardens just because the people were black. This would not be tolerated if this was white on black crime. But the fact that these people come here, and it's the numbers, sir. It's the numbers. They come here in the numbers. They build up the Hispanic community, and they get this sense of power against us. And there are race riots in the schools every day in Los Angeles. It never makes the media. The black kids are being run out of the schools every day and told to go back to Africa. It never makes the media. We are having people who are being discriminated against on every avenue of society, economic, schools, even in our prisons now. They have drawn lines, and our prisoners in California are being beat and harassed and raped by Hispanic gang members who recently arrived here because of the numbers. My answer to you, sir, would be we don't need any new laws. Enforce the ones we got.
Now, that's Brother Terry Anderson back in 1990. And you fast forward to 2025. Unfortunately, our brother's words fell on deaf ears, even in Congress. And they continue to have...
No. I have to make a correction there because they heard it. They just found a way to exploit it. And namely to use it to play us against each other. That's what's happening. And again, going back to the history, how could you not... let me rephrase that. How could you think that we just word of mouth alone? I mean, how could you think we're immigrants? Somebody brought up a good point that maybe it was because of the African American tag. Maybe that's it. Jesse Jackson back in the 80s pushed for that bullshit. Maybe that's it. Maybe, I don't know. I can't, really answer that. But let's go a little bit more.
Have open border policies of the Democrat Party. And they kept flooding the zone. It's 1.8 million now in Los Angeles. And with black people, it's only 329,000 black people now in Los Angeles. Damn. And what I've learned about other groups, like the folks for sure, and even some of them as well, is when their numbers get really high, that's when the racism really ratchet up. Yeah. And if our numbers are low, say, I can probably get at them. We've heard about these issues, and what the brother said is made a lot of sense, is that if there were white people doing all this time, a whole lot would have been done. Hate crime charges have been filed, okay? It would have been nationwide marches and all of that. But the Democrats, the Democrats is the biggest problem. The Democrats knew about all this going on.
Exactly.
And the Democrats was the one with all this minority this, minority that, kind of putting out there like, oh, non-white people, they just like you, and not even looking at, no, they're not just like us as black people. They're not. They're their own people. They got their own ways, their own history, their own everything. We were not on this minority.
Again, this is the problem with not knowing who you really are. And this is, again, why we're out there on the highways and byways. Ezekiel 37, right? That plank. That's why that board that we carry out there with the nations on it is so important. All right? That's that hook. That's that lure. Everybody looks at it and then they'll start to inquire. And then we'll break it down to them. But a lot of the times you'll see people, even Northern Kingdom, will come up on those mopeds and scooters. And then they'll, yeah, right. Why? Because they want to be white so bad. All right, and that's a big issue in and of itself. All right, so let's go back. Let's see, where was I? Let's see, finish out what she said.
And y'all are also saying that is why Africans in the diaspora are always throwing the question to black Americans.
Where you from? Where you from?
Saying they don't know where they come from because they too believe that black Americans are truly not Americans. No, I cannot believe that these groups of people believe that. I can't believe it. Y'all cannot be seriously believing that these people believe that black Americans are not Americans.
Well, Tabitha, I think it's as much wishful thinking as anything. They wish that would be the case. They wish that since we were slaves, because you know they love to throw that in our faces, we were slaves, not understanding that we were the baddest, flyest, most gifted slaves ever known to man, and that is how we got our agency. And they don't, but they just wanted to be the case that they weren't slaves. And also because we go back and forth with white people. And the reason we can go back and forth, toe to toe with white people is because we can. They don't do it because they can't. They don't have the agency that we have. We have 400 years of skin in the game. We are stakeholders.
And this is, and I don't want you to interpret this the wrong way, but, you know, I'm not going to even go there. But someone else made a point, and this is, you got all this energy when you come here. Why not have that same energy and focus on the people that destabilized your countries? All right, the root cause of why you're coming here in the first place. And this is to all immigrants. I'm talking about the ones that for some reason have a problem with us. A woman from Ghana, when this shit started with Ukraine back in, I think it was February of 2022, she made an excellent point, because a few weeks and a few months after that started, you started to have a number of people volunteering to go over to Ukraine, not knowing the history of the Ukrainian people when it comes to us and how much they hate us. And you had a lot of Jake complaining about, oh, they calling me nigger and monkey. No, duh. But the woman from Ghana made a good point, and it applies to here. You're so willing to jump up and help these people who don't give a fuck about you one way or the other. How about focusing on the corruption in your own countries? I got that recorded somewhere. Why not focus on getting them pieces of shit that are working against you in your own countries, clean that shit up so you won't have to go nowhere? See, this is the thing that's currently happening in some of those resource-rich countries in Africa now, and they're sick of these colonizers, all right, and they're kicking their asses out. And Namibia is one. Ibrahim Traore in Burkina Faso is another one, and I think Niger, maybe a couple of others, all right, that are just sick of these colonizers, and they're restructuring things and saying, no, we're going to process shit here. If you want to buy from us that way, we're not going to give you carte blanche when you come into this country now, because it makes it so easy to be exploited when you do that. All right, so we're going to build our own refineries and shit like that. All right, hey, I applaud you. All right, but see, this is what's unique about America when it comes to us, because I believe it was the late 1890s. There was a case. Oh man, I can't remember the name of it, but I think it was a Moabite, and that set the precedent for what's happening now with this immigration shit. They're using the 14th Amendment, which they shouldn't be, because that only applies to us. All right, so this is what Trump was talking about when he did that interview, and he made the answer. He said, no, the 14th Amendment was for that birthright citizenship crap. He said, no, the 14th Amendment, it was exclusively for the descendants of slaves. But here's the thing, Southern Kingdom don't get too fucking happy and joyous about this, because you better believe if they could get rid of us, and they're probably working on that, now that I mentioned that, because you listen, that phrase, that little line in the 13th Amendment, they never bothered to do away with it, because why? It benefited them, all right, as far as being convicted of a crime, I should say, all right, and that way slavery is still legal. See, they got these little end ways around shit. You got to pay attention. That's another thing we be trying to tell you. Learn how to read between the lines, all right, and just plain study, all right. But is Jake gonna do that? No. But back to what I was saying. Here's another video. Wow.
Can't withdraw your funds from your broker or investment platform.
Facing
delays, surprise withdrawal.
Well, it's us now.
Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Sim. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you are good. Seeing people that want you to help them coming out to fearmonger you, trying to make you feel like, that your own time is coming. And the time that is coming will not be a good time, that you will also need their help. I mean, this is just a very...
See, this is what I'm talking about. In a sense, they're right. That's what I'm saying. Because the occasions where we were split, look at around circa 700 BC, the Assyrian captivity, Northern Kingdom, right? And then roughly a little 100 years, a little bit better, it was our turn. Same thing happened with, we're on this side of the world. What happened? It was the Northern Kingdom that, when Columbus came over here, that were affected first. And then 100 and something years later, I want to say it's around the same time. As ironic as it is, I never did look into that. I meant to, but I never did the math. But it's around the same amount of years later, they got our ass. So what? It happens. The Northern Kingdom gets it first, and we get it worse, as the saying goes. All right, here we go.
Word mindset. I see a lot of them coming out to tell black people that they stood for you during Black Lives Matter. I think you guys should stop doing that. You guys, Black Lives Matters and what is going on at this point in time are not the same. There are two different things. Somebody was unalive and preach your community. They do it to your community and all that. But my own community are the ones that experience it more. It is the right thing for you to do, to come out, to express yourself. But what happened last year was human rights and every other thing issue, which you of a person is supposed to know his or her right and stand on what you want. But a majority of you do not know your right. Rather, you want to support other people's right. Who does that? So the problem with you is that you want to please people and displease yourself, and that actually is affecting you. And my own people are now the problem. How did they become the problem, and where did they go wrong? You all should quit all this fear mongering
because black people have always been under attack from the beginning to this very moment. So this is not going to work.
We've always
Let's get
been
into
under
this
attack.
video.
I am very appalled that I have not seen any African American descent. I've seen a few, but not a lot, out protesting of what's right, what's wrong. It's just weird to me that they are staying away from all this that is going on. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure.
See, here's the thing. You don't know why. The history, it's unfortunate, but the history of Northern Kingdom in the Americas, when it comes to people of a darker hue, I'll put it that way, is history's not good. All right, because they've adopted that white supremacist, so-called, that Edomite supremacist attitude. All right, and again, wanting to be so-called white adjacent. It's still prevalent down there, heavily. And they come over here, and it's the same thing. There's another video. I was going to go back to it. Hold on. Unfortunately, I got nignogs out here. Hold on. Okay, just in case you were wondering what that noise was. All right, let's see if I can find it. Because this Jake, let me see. Let's see. Damn it, I done lost it. Hold on. Let me try to go back here. Where was it? He owns his own business. This is a so-called African immigrant. Let me see if I can find it. Damn it. Where is it? It's on his page. Hold on. I was hoping I'd keep this one still up. Let's see. Damn it. Alright, that's what we're watching now. Let's see. Let's just go back. Let's see. Is it still here? Because sometimes they... working while black. Yeah, that's the postal worker. Damn it. I done lost it. Hold on. Let me see. I might have to go to his... Yeah, I'm going to have to go to his site. Damn it. Hold on. Bear with me. Here it is. Listen to this.
So we got an African brother, and he is a real brother. Them kind of brothers that we said that we would like to immigrate to America and be, join with black Americans. Them kind of brothers, right? Those brothers and sisters we welcome all day long. And that's one of the brothers that's going to be featured in this video. Now, this brother owns a construction company.
Again, set this up. Now, it makes sense. Remember, I already said from the onset of the video how they interact with us, trying to set us up and shit, right? Here we go.
And he's going to tell you the underhanded things that a lot of the Latino males that tried to work in his company tried to do to black Americans in the area, trying to get them out the job. I want you to hear what this brother had to say.
Guys who are working in my company. I'm a black man. I own a company. I hire a Latino. The Latino comes back and complain about the African Americans because the Latino thinks because I'm African, I don't have any relationship with the African American. The Latino comes to me and tell me that you are an immigrant. I'm an immigrant. That African American cannot work. I have Jose, I have Gonzalez, my brothers who know how to work very well. You need to fire the African Americans and I will bring a lot of hardworking Latinos who work for your company. This is my company as a black man. My company. I was a contractor at Quantico Marine Base in Virginia. A
Just down
contractor
the
for
highway.
General Electrics. And the Latino workers that are hired, they are snitching on the African American workers that are hired for me to fire the African Americans so they can bring Latinos to take their place.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, he is an African brother, and he said that he hired a lot of Latinos. But let's flip that. When Latinos get companies, the Latino males in particular, they don't hire black men. They only go hire their own. I want you to pay attention to that. Black people are the only people that believe in diversity, equity, and inclusion. And white people do it too. You know, they hire black people too. I can't say they don't, because trust me, a lot of black people are hired by white people. But you look at the Asians, they only hire Asians. You look at, we talk about for the most part, they do. We see it. The Latino males and all of them, they hire their own. But black folks, we go hire Latinos, we go hire everybody else. We don't look out for ourselves. Now, I believe what this man is saying 2,000%. I'm going to tell you why. I seen it my own self, my own two eyes, what this man is saying in the petrochemical industry. And in petrochemical, you know, I worked on the plant side, and then you have the general contractors in the plants. And I've watched them, I've seen them do it, where they'll get a job and you'll see them always with the supervisors and all. I'm like, what they doing with that supervisor all the time, the white supervisor? And you find out that they're out here snitching. Oh, hey, I saw DeAndre come in 5 minutes late. Oh, I saw him do this. Oh, you know, I seen him sleeping on the job that day. Oh, I seen this and I seen that. And the whole time he's doing everything he can to get you fired. And then if he get DeAndre out of there, he gonna tell the boss, so, you know, like he said, I got a good hard-working friend. My uncle's hard-working. My this one is hard-working. My dad hard-working. You're not gonna have none of them problems. And then they go it on and hire them and bring in their cousin, their friend, and then the cycle continues. Then they basically try to pick off the black people for sure, and the white people too. But they pick off, definitely they go after the black people first. They pick you off one by one by one, and then every time you gone, they people come in. And then you'll look up and be like, why everybody here? But when you got there before, the workforce was diverse. Okay? I'll tell y'all, don't talk about any issues with nobody, really. But definitely don't talk about no issues on the job with the men. Because I can't speak on the women, because I don't have no experiences with the women. But we talk about the men. Don't be talking about certain issues with them, because you might well go tell the supervisor what you're talking about. Then sometime will come to you like, yeah, he do too much. He works us too hard, X, Y, Z. Now, he's complaining and you complaining, but then all of a sudden, your supervisor is asking you about that conversation. I say, what? I say, he was saying this and that and the third. But he ain't really believing you, because he went over here and told him all kind of stuff about you. And now you got a problem on your job now. Always trying to establish y'all. See, my thing is, you know, when people talk about, oh, they go do the jobs that y'all don't want. Nobody's asking to go pick no garlic, no strawberry, no orange. Nobody's talking about that. But we're talking about those construction jobs that pay very well. We're talking about those petrochemical jobs. Now, you got brothers right now talking about how they're ruining the trucking industry, how they're doing that. They're taking less money for loads. And these companies going to say, oh, well, if I got to pay an American $2,000 for this load, but I can go pay this guy $1,000 for the load, I'm going to go pay $1,000 to this guy. That way I pocket $1,000 that I would have lost. So now you're hearing brothers complaining that loads are getting even slower because these guys are coming out here and getting trucks and they're taking less money. Them undercutting like that hurts the economy. It doesn't help it. And because a lot of them live a lot of people to a house, I mean, shoot, they can do that. Now, when they came to the brother They said, you're an immigrant, I'm an immigrant. Hey, that black American's lazy. Get rid of them because we're immigrants. They didn't expect for that African brother to stand for his brothers. They didn't expect that. They thought that he was going to be on this. Yeah, I'm different than them. I don't like them either. And they felt comfortable. Let me tell my brothers and sisters here from the diaspora. The reason why that man can say,
and that's why we always say this. All right. You set up a trap, a snare, dig a pit, it usually comes back on you. All right, hold on. This is it. He made a pit. This is Psalm 7:15. He made a pit and digged it, and it's fallen into the ditch which he made. His mischief shall return upon his own head, and his violent dealing shall come down upon his own pay. Wow. Isn't that what's happening now? They did all this. They did all this ass kissing. All right. And they weren't listening to Trump when he was talking. And again, not laughing. Because like I said earlier, you better believe they got something planned for us. All right. Wow. Let's go to 9. This is Psalms chapter 9. 15. The heathen are sunk down. Now, these aren't actually heathen. We usually use this verse. We use it for, they got that mindset of one. But like I said, these are actually, for the most part, our people. Now, whether, you got this whole Batizo thing and all that. And there was a video where someone who appeared to be Northern Kingdom brought that topic up, all right, about, the conquistadors and all that, Spaniards. Anyway, the heathen are sunk down in the pit that they made. And ultimately, yes, they are behind all this, all right. And the net which they hid is their own foot taken. This is why a lot of Southern Kingdom Jake, so-called Negroes, aren't feeling it. Because they know what you, Northern Kingdomer, with that white adjacent mindset, all right, they know your attitude towards us has been just as stank in most cases, worse, all right, as that Jake from 1990 was talking about. All right, you might as well have been the KKK. All right, so let's see, a little bit more.
That because unfortunately, some of you have had that conversation with Latinos and whoever else about us as Black Americans. That's why they felt comfortable saying that to him.
Oh, I almost forgot. Let's not forget, like I almost did. Let's look up LULAC. See, we extended hands. Like I said, we've been the one, even to our own hurt, and this is another topic I'm glad I didn't wrap up the video before bringing this out, but the so-called Congressional Black Caucus, which ain't worth a damn, and all these other Democratic organizations, let's see, here it is, the League of United Latin American Citizens. Started in 1929 in Corpus Christi, Texas. That's way down. All right. The shore. Gulf. All right. Largely by so-called Hispanics returning from World War I who sought to end the ethnic discrimination against Latinos in the United States. The goal of LULAC is to advance the economic condition, educational attainment, political influence, housing, health, and civil rights of Hispanic people in the United States. No problem. Cool. LULAC uses nationwide councils and group community organizations to achieve all these goals. LULAC is about 132,000 members in the United States. The organization You can read that. Comparisons with the NAACP. With respect to organizational structure, the League of Latin American Citizens was similar to the NAACP. David G. Gutierrez said, considering themselves part of a progressive and enlightened leadership elite, LULAC's leaders set out to implement general goals in a political strategy that were similar in form and content to those advocated early in the century by W.E.B. Du Bois. Okay, Du Bois. All right, so, and there's a lot of bullshit with that too. I'm not going to go into it now. All right. It says, though the two civil rights groups may have possessed some institutional similarities, LULAC tried to establish distance from the African American civil rights struggle. As LULAC believed that blacks were more oppressed than Latinos, its members thought that joining forces would not strengthen its own struggle for equality. So they chose to remain separate. You gotta understand, I just watched a special month before, was it 2 months now? And it talked about the civil rights era and how Hispanics were allowed to ride up front in the buses. In other words, while we had to ride in the back, they didn't. They were allowed to commingle with them folks, all right? And wow, I mean, it was, but this is what, remember, he said they wanted to be separate, right? LULAC asserted that Hispanics properly fell into the white category of the dichotomous black-white construction of race, because there was a court case. It might touch on it. Let's see. It says in 1936, this may be it, the League engaged in a series of lobbying activities as soon as the USCB perceived that Mexican Americans would be categorized as part of a group of dark-skinned minorities. They didn't want that. They lobbied to demonstrate that Hispanic, Latino, and Mexican American were not racial classifications, but cultural groups who were racially diverse, sharing a common ethno-linguistic ancestry. And it goes into the founders. Let's see if, okay, no, it's not who I was looking for. LULAC was formed in 1929 as a result of the merger of several small groups also concerned with the status of Mexican Americans. There's a sad story in around 1918, very end of the First World War. Yeah, it's going to take too long. Anyway, it involved the border down there in Texas and how they would rub Issachar down with kerosene to make sure they were clean and all this shit. And there was an incident where I think one of those Edomites lit I just call it a vat of kerosene. It's fucked up. But anyway, I don't have time for that. But anyway, let's see. I want to get to the point here when this guy, what was his name? Let's see if I'm going to see it. Because he was asked, let's see, Cholo, let's see. I apologize for the time. Let's see. LULAC emphasized American patriotism as a path to assimilation. It asserted that Mexican Americans should disavow any allegiance to Mexico, remain permanently in the United States, and commit fully to democratic ideals. All right. The George Washington prayer they do. All right. Let's see. Role of women. That's not what I'm looking for. Let's see. What was the guy's name? Let's see. Was this the case? This was it. I think. Wait a minute. Hold on. Yeah, Mendez v. Westminster. That's what I was looking for. Let's see. Here it is. LULAC also sued school districts which practice segregation. Examples of successful cases include Mendez v. Westminster in 1945 and Delgado v. Bastrop ISD in 48. In the Mendez case, Thurgood Marshall, then a lawyer for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, filed an amicus brief in support of LULAC. As Marquez notes, relying strictly on the volunteer labor of LULAC attorneys and their staff, from 1950 to 57, approximately 15 suits or complaints were filed against school districts throughout the Southwest. These victories contributed presidents that were consulted in their liberation by the United States Supreme Court in the Brown v. Board of Education, 1954. In 65, the 146 councils were distributed among 8 states, and by 77, the LULAC had offices in 21 states. All right. Figure equipment, just the same argument that basically we had always brought up, but let's see, are they going to get to, damn it, what was the guy's name? He was asked about, damn it, let's see, Labor Council. Oh man, I didn't see his name anywhere. Oh man, what was his name? Ku Klux Klan. Let's see, voting rights. Let's see. Damn it. Hernandez v. Texas. But it will be earlier up. Let's see. He was president from the guy I'm thinking about. Was it 56 to 60? I do not see this guy's name, and that's strange. Let's see. Damn it. I didn't mean to take this long, but it is important. Man. Usually when you bring this up, they have this guy's face. Let's see if I can find it in another. Let's see. Come on now. Now it wants to slow up. Come on. All right. Let's see. Maybe it should be in the history. Hold on. And then I can close it out. But they want it to be separate. They, let's see. We serve whites only. No Spanish and Mexicans. 29. I want to go up into the 50s. National past presidents. Okay, let's see. That should be it. Let's see. A dark epic for Mexican Americans. The foundation of LULAC. I think I'm getting hotter. Hold on. 29. It keeps on that. Constitutional Convention. Let's see. The battle had just begun. It's history. Come on now. Let's see. First president. Let's keep going. Keep going. On to mid-50s. Garza. Let's see. Laurel. Felix. This is one of them. All right. Convention at the 58 Convention in San Antonio. Okay, this is one. This is the one I had. His name I couldn't remember. God dang it. Come on now. That's not what. Come on, man. What? Damn it. How did it? Oh my God. Not lilac. LULAC. Past. I apologize. This residence. All right. Okay, now it wants to freeze up on me. I don't know what's going on here. Let's see. Well, let's take this off. Let's. Son of a. Come on now. This is crazy. back to Mr. Felix. Let's see. 38. Garza. Alright, let's see about this guy. Alright. Is he gonna tell? Evidently not. Damn it. Because he said some. Let's see. Let's see. That is not okay. Wow. He's not the one I'm thinking about. Damn it. National. God damn it. Okay. That's it. I can't find it. I apologize, but he made the comment about the Negro must fight his own battles. Maybe if I put that in. Oh man. Forgotten Latin history. Here it is. Brown, black, and white in Texas. There it is. All right. That was him. All right, but they didn't have that quote. And he's got glasses here. All right. Let the Negro fight his own battles. All right. His problems are not mine. I don't want to ally with him. It was Tiarina. All right. There you go. My apologies. All right. Felix, if I'm saying it correctly, Tiarina, sternly, it said sternly, reprimanded his colleague, saying, let the Negro fight his own battles. His problem's not mine. I think blacks should have their own. All right, there you go. But he wasn't the only one. But I'm going to stop it there. And I'll put the links to all this. These videos included in the description box. All right. Sad, it really is. And here's Lisa Cabrera. She did the same thing. Latins and Africans, they thought black Americans were immigrants. See, everybody's on this. So, hey, there you have it. Sorry it took like 15 minutes longer than what I wanted, but I wanted for you to see that. Not for me to tell you. We like to show you. All right. So with that, hey, until the next video, hey, shalom.